Welcome back to the Playdate by Freshly Picked. I'm your host, Kaitlin Hansen.
And I'm Codi Stevens.
Codi, I am so excited to talk about your birth story today.
Oh, me too. I can't wait to dredge it all back up.
Yeah, just in time, just to bring back all the memories in time for baby number 2.
Oh, so
for
fun.
it to happen. I love it. Okay, well, let's start from the beginning, not like the beginning, but leading up to your birth. And so tell us about a couple weeks before, how you're feeling. Are you dilated at all? Let's dive into that.
All right. Well, physically, my pregnancy was perfect.
Okay, amazing.
I didn't expect that. I thought everything would go wrong. I'd be depressed. I'd be heartburn central.
Yeah. Did you get sick at all?
No.
Okay, incredible.
It made me a better human in all the ways, which was weird, but great.
Yeah.
So physically, I was doing really well. The baby was really healthy.
Good.
I was almost waiting for the other shoe to drop, what's going to go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything was going really well. But I did get COVID.
Okay.
And this was back in 2022. So, there were still all the precautions and the rules at the hospital.
Yeah.
So my doctor was worried about the COVID. He had seen, and I don't know what it's called, placental something.
That thing?
I'm not sure.
I don't even know.
I guess he had seen COVID affect the placenta in so many women.
Yeah.
That it would essentially stop working at a certain point.
Oh, gosh.
So he was like, okay, I don't want you to go over.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen so many horror stories.
Right.
And I was scared too. Well, I don't want that either. So.
Well, and they don't know that much.
No, it's still so.
Yeah.
It's still so new, and it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
So he just kind of set up an induction date and said, okay, we're not going over this because I just want to make sure baby's fine. And it was kind of a guessing game, though.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's going to happen.
For sure. How many weeks were you when you got COVID? Do you remember?
I feel like I was in my 2nd trimester.
Okay.
So
how far apart when was Kit born?
She was March.
Okay. And then Nora was April.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got COVID probably at 20 something weeks too. And they were like, we don't know how this affects things.
Yeah. It's kind of scary because you're like, well, I want everything to be safe. And
yeah.
But I don't know. So I just kind of let him make the call on that. And yeah, so leading up, everything looked good though.
Yeah, good.
I just had my induction date set.
Just a week before?
No, I had it set. I think it was after. I think he was kind of like, I don't want you to go too far over.
Yeah.
I was anticipating going over because I just feel like everything felt locked down. And there was no progression. I wasn't dilated. I wasn't effaced. And I was doing the curve walking.
Oh my gosh, the curve
eating
walking.
dates and
all the things.
Dates, prunes, whatever. I don't even
I was
remember.
bouncing on a ball with somebody was like, hook up your pump. So I'm sitting there bouncing on the ball with my pump.
I did that too.
Did nothing.
No. You just
except for
dumb
hurt my nipples so bad.
Yes.
It put me in a rough spot for trying to breastfeed. 0 out of 10 recommend
things
that.
we do.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I had started doing all of those things and nothing was moving anywhere. So my doctor was also going to go out of town. I think it was 2 weeks after my due date.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure I had the baby before then too, because I was super anxious.
Yeah.
I had so many phobias surrounding hospitals and doctors and needles and
yeah. Well, I'm especially with your first, it's all new. You don't know what to expect. There's a lot of things.
Yeah. And I'm just weird anyway. I was extra embarrassing about everything. And my doctor's so kind and calming that I'm he needs to be there.
Yeah.
So
we had the same doctor too. Sorry to interject. We had the same doctor for my first and then her first. And he's a real life angel.
He really is. It almost felt like having an uncle or your dad there, just calming.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's very kind.
His handhold, he shakes your hand and holds your hand a little bit.
Yeah. And he just listens. He listens to you even when I'd be like, I'm so scared of getting my blood drawn. I need numbing cream. He'd just be like, okay, that's fine. And other doctors be like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just
No,
suck it
that's
up.
what you need though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was awesome. So leading up to the birth, I wanted him there. So that was another reason why we did the induction before,
Yeah.
So I think I was a week over. And that's when he was like, okay, let's get you in.
Yeah.
And I think the night before or 2 nights before, I went around, I was panicking. I was like, I need to go into labor. I'm so stressed. So I went to this cute little Chinese lady that did acupuncture. And I'm like, I have to be induced tomorrow. So will you just do your magic and make me go into labor?
Yeah. Were you anxious about being induced?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all of it. It all stressed me out probably because it was so unknown and just I want the control over my own body. I didn't want it placed on me by someone else. I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah. That makes sense.
But this cute lady just sat me down and she was like, everything's healthy. Go home. And I was like, no, you have to help me.
Yeah. You're like, you're supposed to put me in labor.
Yeah. So that didn't work. So yeah, went in, was induced. I mean, everything looked good, but nothing was happening. They started me on Pitocin and still nothing. And then I think I was laboring.
Yeah.
For
I feel like it was a long time.
Well, total from the time I went in till the C-section was 36 hours.
That's long.
It was really long.
I bet you were exhausted.
Oh my gosh, I was delirious and it was a very long time.
Yeah.
But at some point, my doctor went out of town. I was there that long that
dang,
I had 2 different doctors.
Homeboy had to leave on his trip.
He did.
He's like, see ya.
So I was freaking out because I'm like, now I've got these random doctors. And then they were like, we're going to do is it a Foley cap?
Oh, the Foley bulb. Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Foley bulb?
Straight from hell.
How really?
That thing. I've never felt pain like that before.
Ow. Did you get an epidural?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I did get one when that thing was in because I'm like, I'm out. I'm tapping.
Game over.
Yeah. I don't remember totally how far that gets you to. It's a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
It basically forces your cervix open.
That sounds really painful.
Yeah. So if you're going to do that, get your epidural before.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite thing.
Yeah. And you're already on Pitocin, which makes all the things more aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got the epidural. And then I think that Foley thing fell out in the middle of the night.
Okay.
And at that point, I think they kind of hope that you'll keep dilating and I didn't. I just stalled there.
Yeah. What did you get to?
Whatever it got me to.
Okay.
So it's either a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah. All a blur.
Yeah. It's however big that dumb bulb thing is.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Then at some point, the doctor came in and said, okay, well, I'm going to break your water and maybe that'll get things moving.
Mm-hmm.
And so he did that. And I think there was meconium in the water.
Oh.
So they were a little bit like, okay, well, that's something.
Yeah.
But her heart rate still looked good. And she was sitting so high still. There was nothing was moving.
Yeah.
And I was super anxious too. I remember the nurse kept coming in and I wanted to punch her.
Yeah.
Because she'd be like, okay, if no progression happens, then you're getting a C-section.
Oh, gosh.
And every time she'd come in, I'm like, stop saying that. You're making me
well, that's
everything's tightening up.
Yeah. Unnecessary stress.
It was very stressful. So looking back, I'm almost like, that nurse, I should have, I don't know.
Wrote her a comment card.
Yeah, it was just not pleasant. So then at some point it was they had an hour set. Okay, if you don't dilate more by this hour, then you're going to have to do this.
I get why they do it, but it almost is an ultimatum.
Yeah. Well, and I think they wanted me out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd been there for
a minute,
30 something hours at that point. So I think they were like, okay,
time to go.
Yeah. And then it came to a point that the doctors came in and he was really nice. And he was like, all right, so here's where it's at. Like with the meconium in your water, like it's a little sketchy. Her heart rate looks good, but at some point it's going to start not looking good.
Yeah.
You might want to start considering the idea of a C-section. And I was so freaked out. I was just like, I can't do surgery. Like, I can't do it. No.
Well, I remember when all this was happening, because I had just had Nora and Kylie was like calling me. And I'm like, do you want me to call her and talk to her?
Honestly, you should have.
I know.
I had to. So my sister-in-law was my doula.
Oh, nice.
Which she was the best. Like, she was the one calming, like, okay, I'm fine. And she was helping me like get in different positions and trying to get things moving. And she stood up to the nurse for me and was just like, can you stop?
Yeah, good.
Can you go out in the hall and like leave her alone?
Yeah.
But, I'm talking through it with her because I'm like, I'm so scared of a C-section. I can't do it. And she would talk to the doctor for me and really helpful.
Yeah.
But I started going, it'd be easier to just decide to do one instead of have it suddenly be an emergency.
Yeah.
And so my sister-in-law, her name's Alicia, she was like, well, maybe, like, do you know anyone who's had a C-section who you could talk to and, kind of familiarize yourself with all your options?
Right.
So I called a few of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what, like, helped me feel like, okay.
Well, I think when you've like nobody close to you has had one, like really close, like a sister or mom or something like that, and then you're in the position where it's like all of a sudden you have to have one, it gets really scary and like just feels so foreign and like, yeah, it feels, I don't know if you felt this way and I don't know if I'm like putting words in your mouth, but for me, I felt like disappointed too, where I was like, why isn't like my body allowing me to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you do. You feel disappointed. Well, and I feel like you also have this expectation of what you're going into.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you're having to wrap your mind around this whole other realm, like this whole other path to get there.
Yeah.
Whereas, you have 9 months of going, we go in, I'll go into labor.
Yeah.
And then suddenly.
It's like, that's not how it goes at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was nice to hear stories from people too. Well, and especially our age, like my mom had 3 C-sections.
Yeah. But things are different.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And I always heard it as a kid.
Yeah.
Like when she would talk about it, I was little and it sounded like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it probably was. Then.
Oh, well, it was. It totally was. And I think in my mind, that's how C-sections
Yeah.
are.
So that feels even scarier to you.
Oh, yeah. So having my friends talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they also, one thing that I didn't realize, I think a lot of my like phobia surrounding hospitals and surgery and all the things, I think it's a control thing.
Oh, that's how it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm not in control of my body or people are poking me and prodding me, like, I don't know what kind of messes with you. So one of my friends, she was like, okay, I had heard when you have a C-section, they strap your arms down. And that really freaked me out.
They did for mine, but it's because I was shaking so much and throwing up.
Okay.
So it's like that. Please do that so you're not cutting other things.
Totally.
Yeah.
But she said, you can request to have an arm on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And even just that, I was like, oh, okay. I might be okay. Which is a weird thing, but it gave me a semblance of control.
Yeah.
And I could kind of hug myself through it.
Right.
So she told me some things like that, like tips on, okay, just this is what to expect. And also ask them for this and ask them for this. And so when I got off the phone with her, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I want a C-section.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to say, let's go for it before things get scary.
Yeah.
And I totally felt calm about it at that point too.
Good. How was that actual like C-section portion for you?
It was, I think it really went well.
Good.
I'm still kind of traumatized by it. I think just because it was so sudden.
Yeah.
And it's like all of your senses are so heightened. It's really cold in the
Yes.
OR. The lights are really bright. I think that was like the worst part.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe if you can kind of expect these things and
Right.
I don't know. But it did go well. Like it was very controlled. It wasn't an emergency at that point. So the doctors were very calm and I had my music playing.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And my husband was right behind my head, just like kind of playing with my hair. And it really went well.
Good.
And then I didn't know that you get the shakes
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
after.
Bad shakes.
I'd say that was the worst part.
Yeah. Did you get itchy? That was for
No.
me. Oh my gosh. For my second.
Like your
Oh,
whole
I
body?
was so itchy. Uncontrollably
Ugh.
itchy. But for the second time, I asked for a different medicine.
Oh,
I think
like
somebody,
you were allergic or something.
I don't know. Somebody asked me, well, they told me that that was normal, the itchiness. So they told me to
Really?
ask for something called Dermamorph instead.
Okay.
And it didn't make me itchy the second time.
Huh.
Yeah, but like I couldn't go to sleep after because I was just like,
Really?
oh my gosh, I'm going to scratch my body
Oh,
off. But, and the shakes are wild.
the shakes are, oh my gosh, and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So I think this time if I like, no, it's
Oh,
might
it's going to
a
be so
thing.
much better.
Yeah.
Number 2 C-section is so much better.
I've heard. I'm trying
Yeah.
to convince myself. But yeah, I was shaking so bad. And I remember the anesthesiologist, he was like, hey, do you want me to give you something for the shakes? And I was just like, no, I
Yeah.
want to be present for everything. And then at a certain point, I was like, Kate, just give me whatever. Because
Yeah.
I couldn't, it was like I was having a seizure.
Oh, for sure. It's
That's
like
so weird.
uncontrollable. And like
Yeah.
teeth chattering.
Yes.
They were like, I don't think you can hold the baby right now.
Yes, it's wild.
Yeah.
Well, and I was freaked out because I was like, in my brain, I'm like, they're trying to sew me up in my body. So it's making me more anxious.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what if they're like poking thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
My brain was just going everywhere.
Yeah.
So he like injected something
Mm-hmm.
to calm me down. And I remember just it like burned a little bit going into the IV.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, ow, ow, ow. And then I fell asleep. And I remember waking up and I felt so refreshed.
Oh,
And I was just like, wow.
just a little happy nappy.
Yeah. I said to my husband, how long was I out? And he's like 2 seconds.
Wait, incredible. You can ask for that again.
I don't know what it was, but I thought that I'd had a full night's rest. And so whatever it is, I know to ask for.
Yeah,
again.
you're like, give me that starting now. Thanks.
Yep. So that was nice. And then the shakes were gone.
Good.
So, and then they had pulled Kid out at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and she had just a full head of hair.
So much hair. I was
Black
shook.
hair.
I was shook.
I was too. I was a big fat bald baby. So I was expecting that, but she just little tons of black hair.
So freaking cute.
She was very cute.
You guys don't get it. She's like, I have a baby. Well, I did at the time. She's 2 now. But like cutest freaking newborn. I'm like, how'd she come out so cute?
I don't know.
She was like, she's still so adorable. But like cutest freaking newborn ever.
Oh, she was way too cute.
Oh my
Probably because of
gosh.
her dad, because I was not a cute baby.
Oh, I wasn't either. I'm surprised my parents wanted to take me home from the
Right.
hospital. Truly.
Honestly.
I would have been like, put that baby back up for a little bit longer.
I know. Same. I looked like a troll without hair. So
Cute.
We've got that
I'm
going.
picturing
Yeah.
it. Cute. Well, and they used to take those ugly freaking hospital pictures with like the shiny eyes and the babies all just like, none of them turned out good, even like
No.
the cutest babies. They should go to jail for that. Straight to jail for
straight
those.
to jail.
Oh my gosh. And they need to get better prints on the blankets too.
Yeah, I feel like
Stick
those
with some
haven't
polka dots or some stripes.
those
people.
haven't changed. I
No.
feel like we had the same blankets and hats that the babies do now.
Yeah, they need a redesign.
Wow. You do.
I'm gonna make that
Yeah, do
happen.
that.
I'll try.
Okay. Good. Yeah, really good idea.
So how big was Kit when she was born?
She was 8 pounds 6 ounces.
Okay, that's great. That's a great size.
She was chunky and
Oh, I love.
she was long too. I feel like they measured her wrong. Because she was like really tall.
Yeah, mine was like almost 22 and a half inches long. I'm like,
Yeah.
homegirl came out
Yeah.
2 feet.
Yeah. 22 inches. And
I'm like, that's long.
it's really long. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know about that. But yeah, she was very cute. She was healthy.
Good.
But she seriously, I mean, as first time parents, you don't know what to expect.
Right.
Like, so I kind of was expecting her to cry all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you see when
Oh,
you
for sure.
see newborns, and I don't know. But she definitely did. She cried 24/7. And I remember we were sitting there one night and we're like, don't they ever take the baby to like that little nursery where you look at them through the glass?
Oh, yeah. But during COVID, the nursery and stuff was like, did they not have it?
They had it, but
I think
you
they have like
had
a limit on time.
yeah, and you had to request it, like, and we didn't know that. So we just, and then one night we were both going bonkers and I had like turned weird and one of my stitches split
Oh.
and like it was just a weird night and she was screaming and poor Jason was up just like, he was doing everything.
Yeah, well, because it's like once you have a C-section, you can't like get up. Like you're not that mobile.
No.
Like I didn't change diapers for the first 2 weeks because I'm
No.
like, I'm out of commission.
Can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even just like when you have a cough or
Yeah.
have to sneeze.
Oh my gosh. Going to the bathroom. Like,
Oh.
like releasing yourself down on the toilet. I'm like, I
Yes.
have to like squeeze.
Oh.
That to me was like probably the worst part.
That's the worst part.
Like it like took my breath away.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. That recovery part. So yeah. So it's like the dad is usually doing everything.
Yeah.
And I remember looking over at him and I'm like, we need help.
Yeah.
Like what's going on? And how I don't even remember. Are you in the hospital for 3 days with the
I think it's like
C-section?
3 or 4.
Yeah. I mean, she had jaundice.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough to have to do the light, but she was also losing a lot of weight.
Okay.
And my milk had come in great and I was also pumping. So I don't know. I just was like, am I not producing enough? Like what's going on? And she was so sad all the time too.
Yeah.
We just couldn't figure out what was wrong.
Yeah. That's hard.
And the doctor was really concerned. I remember the day we went home, the pediatrician's like, you need to come straight to the pediatrician, like to our office.
Mm.
And we're going to weigh her and like we need to talk about her weight loss because
Yeah. Well, because I think if they lose certain amount, like X amount of percentage,
yeah,
then it like puts them in this like category where they don't wait the week. They're like coming every day for weight checks or something.
It's like failure to thrive. Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
And as a mom, like I felt super like such a failure. It was really hard on me because I'm like, I'm doing all I can. And you know how it is after a C-section, you can barely sit up, you can barely hold them, right?
Yeah.
And I remember nursing was hard. Like I couldn't like maneuver her into the right spot to like feel.
Or just like move them around to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wasn't latching very good either. Like I remember I had to do the shield.
Oh, yeah.
And those were the worst. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
It was just weird. So I remember going to the pediatrician with her and it wasn't our regular doctor because it was whoever was on call.
Yeah.
And she had us sit down and she's like, well, you need to give her formula because something's wrong with your milk or something.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, well, wait, I don't.
Yeah, you're like, you could have said that in a way better way.
Yeah, it was just hard. And she's like, well, okay, then if you don't want to do that, like feed her right now in front of me and let me see what you're doing wrong.
You're like, oh gosh.
And I was in so much pain. I remember sitting on like that. It's like the straight backed bench at the pediatrician. And I'm like, pull my boob out. And I'm like trying to get the baby on, but she wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't latch. And then the doctor would like grab her and try to like force her on. And I was
They're aggressive with
gosh.
like the breastfeeding. I was like, geez.
Yeah.
I feel like they just fling those tits and babies around.
They do.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even know they could like be squished like that.
I know. They seriously like squash it. And
Yeah. Hamburger and hot dog. Is that what it is?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I had forgotten about all this.
Like the pump back and then the hot dog or something. I don't even know what it is.
The pump back.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah. So that was not fun. And I remember just crying, like on the whole way home. I just cried. Like I just felt like a failure. And I felt like that doctor just thought I was like not feeding her enough and I was pumping so much milk.
Yeah.
Like I was also supplementing with bottles. So I would nurse her and then give her a bottle. And I'm like, I swear she should be eating enough.
Yeah.
But she kept losing weight. And then she started getting like this really bad rash. I remember like texting my sister and other people I know, like, is this like
Kylie's the queen of rashes, like knows about rashes.
She does. So it's like, do you think this is eczema or like heat rash or I don't know. And everyone was always like, I don't know. Is it just baby pimples?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
well,
don't
I'm like,
really know.
could be a million things, especially when you're a new mom. You're like, I don't know what's normal. I don't know what's not.
Yeah. So it was just everything was getting weird. And her rash got so bad that I went back to the pediatrician because I was worried. And she was still losing weight.
Dang.
And my pediatrician's really easygoing. And he was just like, oh, it's just baby acne. Like it'll go away. This is when it kind of sets in. And I remember going home and just being like, I don't know. It looks really bad to me.
Yeah.
And at this point, too, she was crying like almost all day, every day.
Oh, that's so hard. Especially trying to recover.
Oh, my gosh. Well, and it was just hard because it's like you want balance, too, in my life. So like my husband would, feed her bottles and let me go out and see my friends or whatever. And then I would send him to go play pickleball because I'm like, we need to still have some life right now.
For sure.
And I remember those nights like when he'd go to pickleball and I would just be like, I can't do this. Like just crying the whole time. And then I would cry and then I'd be like, someone has to come help me because I can't be here right now.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually I set up an appointment to the allergist because I was like, is she allergic to something?
Yeah.
Is like, I don't know, but this isn't normal. And the allergist basically was like, well, there's this it's a protein allergy, CMPA. It's like cow's milk protein allergy.
Yeah.
And she's like, she has all the symptoms. The only way to know is if you cut it out, though.
So did you have to cut out dairy?
Dairy and soy.
Oh, I had a friend that just did that. I don't know about the soy, but she cut out dairy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sucks.
Oh, it sucked. But honestly, it took maybe a week. And suddenly she stopped crying.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
She started putting on weight. Her rash went away.
Good.
And I was just like, yeah, there I was like eating mac and cheese every day at the hospital and milk and cheese is life.
Oh, seriously.
And then
bury me in cheese.
Please do.
Preferably queso.
But I was just like, I can't sacrifice cheese.
Yeah.
But it was so worth it. And I don't know. I'd say that was like the hardest part was just the figuring that out.
Yeah.
And so it's something I try to like talk to my friends about.
Yeah.
I had never known about that. And I wish I could have recognized it sooner.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I'm sure that there are people out there that like, I had no idea that was even something that could happen until like that happened to my sister and things like that. And I think it's more common than people realize too.
Yeah,
where it's like you might have to cut out something in your diet if you are exclusively breastfeeding or breastfeeding that could be contributing to that. So absolutely.
Yeah.
One last question for you is just with that, I'm so glad you figured all of that out. But tell me just a little bit about the mom that you hope to be.
Oh, gosh.
And that's the tough question.
It is tough. I think every day I have a different idea of that.
Yeah.
I think as a mom, as a parent in general, you're always feeling like you're failing or you're not doing good enough here or there, or you're comparing yourself to others. But I'd say overall, I just hope to be the mom that my kids can feel safe with, and also just constantly loved, very consistent.
Yeah.
Overall, that I want to have fun with them too. I want to laugh a lot and just help them flourish in their different talents and the things that they like to do. Yeah, overall, I want them to feel safe.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's so important. That's one of the first like times I've actually heard that. And I'm like, that's so beautiful. So
Thanks.
well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your birth story. And when baby boy's here, we'll do it again.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, well, thank you so much. And we'll see y'all next time.
See ya.
Bye.